Good morning. Welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Don McArthur here with Dylan Kristy and our special guest this morning, Ward 4 candidate Remy Boulbol.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. So she's the former director of the Rose City Islamic Center. In 2012, you were awarded with the Diamond Jubilee Medal for your work with women and children in Windsor and Essex. What's it like out on the campaign trail?
It's exciting on the campaign trail. We have canvassed the entire ward, over 11,000 households. We've been doing that since May, so it's been an interesting go of it. We've met all kinds. We've had some incredible conversations, met with some really interesting residents, and more than anything, we're able to really build our platform based around those conversations, right? I mean, I had my own ideas. I live there. I raised my family there. You know, we live our day-to-day lives in Ward 4, but it was important to me to really have that input, and I think that that's something that's been missing for a little while, is that really meaningful public consultation. So that's what our platform is completely built on.
Oh, that's excellent. What are some of the things that you're hearing from the door as you go there and talk to the public?
There's an overarching theme of really making sure that we are focusing our priorities on our neighborhoods.
Okay.
There's some really fantastic things that have happened over the past few years in Windsor. However, some of that may have taken away from our priorities on the day-to-day things. For instance, our infrastructure, our roads. You'll hear it from probably every candidate in Windsor. Our roads and our sewers are a problem. That is probably number one. Number two, those day-to-day things that are just sort of quality of life issues, right? It takes a really long time to get trees trimmed. There's some crime issues, petty crime, vandalism, things like that. Ward 4 has a ton of alleyways. Looking at the alleys, keeping them safe, keeping them maintained. As I said, the non-sexy items, but those things that really do affect your quality of life every day. Some of the bigger things that I'm hearing and that are also built in is transit. It is the biggest barrier to employment in Windsor right now. We have to do something about fixing our transit system. Not fixing it, but expanding it, I guess I'll say. So those are some of the primary things that I've heard.
Like more buses, more routes?
More buses, more routes, more often, and running farther, right? So there are jobs to be had in Tecumseh, in Maidstone, Essex, that people can't get to.
Okay.
They don't run early enough, they don't run often
So like
enough.
a regional transit system is something,
Definitely want to renew that conversation. That is number one. We need to be having that conversation with our partners in the county. Get creative about it, you know. Maybe working with employers to see about some cost sharing ideas, and maybe busing employees back and forth from one point. Again, getting creative about how we pay for that, right? Got ideas for days, but at the end of the day, those nuts and bolts really comes down to how we're going to pay for that. So once again, getting creative about it a little bit. Also been hearing a lot about Ottawa Street, Tecumseh Road, empty storefronts for days. We've talked a lot about small business, how do we better support them. The whole idea of streamlining sort of planning, building permits is a fantastic move, I think, by the city. I think Tom Hunt will do an excellent job in that. But again, making it simpler, making it easier for somebody to start a business is something that we have to do more work on. It shouldn't. Small business is what makes a city like Windsor so strong, right? We have to do more to support that, and one of the things that we can do is to work with those property owners, right? You've got buildings that are sitting there empty that people want to open up a business in. They can't afford rents that are ridiculous because some of these property owners would rather have them sit empty and have their tax rebate.
Because we were talking about this in our news meeting yesterday, exactly. They get a tax break because it's vacant storefronts. Okay.
Yeah. There's no limit. There's no time limit on it. Some businesses need that, don't get me wrong. If you're renovating, you're just getting started, yes, but there should be a time limit on that. So working with our provincial partners to say, hey, we need to do something about this. We've got businesses that cannot get off the ground because there's no place for them to be. So, and moving out of the municipality to open up their business. We want them here. We want those job creators here. We want those economic drivers here. We should be doing more to make sure that they stay here. So that's a lot of what I'm hearing at the door. That's a lot of information, but again, that overarching theme being we need to kind of get back to the basics.
Okay, please walk in the beat. Sort of everyone, this came up. Adriano Chodoli, one of your opponents, he was talking about it, came up in the Ward 4 debate. Everyone sort of seemed to support it. A little bit of a difference between the proposals that you two have. So talk about yours.
So my ideas are really built on the experience that I've had with my Neighborhood Watch program. So about 3.5 years ago, Holland Moy Neighborhood Watch program was the first, once the Safety Village took over the Neighborhood Watch and it was sort of redesigned and re-implemented. This was actually the first neighborhood to have one, which was really fantastic. That came about through those community conversations, right? It came about as a need. I live there, my neighbors live there. We've seen that our neighborhoods have to come together. They have to be stronger, excuse me, and better supported. So, Neighborhood Watch was born there. Not only as a means of crime prevention, but also as a means of bringing together community police and neighbors, right? Once those relationships are stronger, that's, I think, where that community safety piece really comes in, right? So my ideas really have to do with, it's great to look at other provinces, it's great to look at other cities and take some ideas, but I don't know that that cut and paste model will necessarily work, right? We have to be able to look at what is going to work for Windsor. We have our unique challenges, we have a unique police force, we have a fantastic group of men and women who are working every day to keep us safe. We want to make sure that whatever we do is sanctioned by them, first of all, and is something that makes sense to them. So there are auxiliary police that are out now. They patrol in the parks. You see often police on the beat downtown during the evening. That's one place that we have them. We've got some in Jackson Park, Memorial Park, places like that. On the weekends, sometimes in the evenings. What I'd really like to see is more of that, right? You want to make sure that your officers aren't so far away, and this is coming from sort of our partners here in Windsor. But some of the concerns I've heard from them are just, we don't want to be so far away from our vehicles that we can't get to where we need to be. And that's a real concern. When you've got police officers, partners getting out of their cars, going into shops, talking to neighbors. Hey, how's it going? That's fantastic. Also stepping up those auxiliaries in the alleyways where we know we have problems, right? They don't necessarily need to be armed, but they can be a deterrent, right? So that's how I think the auxiliary might be able to work, as opposed to just saying, hey, spend half your time out of your car, officers who are working their regular shift, and spend the other half of your time in your car. It has to be conversation that's built on Windsor, and that's built on what we have here.
Okay.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Another thing that you heard at the door, I think it was 700 block Memorial Drive.
Yes.
There were complaints about tall grass, mosquito pools along the CP rail there. Now, a lot of candidates, they hear these issues, but you actually got something done.
Yeah, you know what? That's the advocate in me. That's what I do for a living, right? And I was raised by 2 civil rights activists. I mean, I think my poor mother would be turning over in her grave if she realized that I'd done nothing about this. It was abhorrent to me. These are seniors living on fixed incomes who love the places that they live in. They're so grateful to have these lovely townhouses with Windsor Housing, but they have neighbors, being the rail company, that aren't being good corporate neighbors. When you look at the visual of it, there is a fence. That's a beautiful fence, well taken care of, a great sidewalk, service road. As soon as you get past the park, there's nothing. People had bought used doors from Habitat for Humanity because that's all they could afford, put them on their side, put up chicken wire just to be able to act as a barrier. They didn't know what to do. They'd been talking about this for years. It wasn't a new issue, but they were having a hard time having their voice heard. So I said, if there's one thing that I can do, it's make a heck of a lot of noise.
Excellent.
So that's exactly what we did. Made a lot of calls, talked to a lot of people, and made a pledge to them and a promise to them that we would do something. So thankfully, that's exactly what happened. Within 24 hours, CP Rail was out there cutting down those weeds. We've also been able to have, and thanks to Alan Halberstadt actually on this, working with him to try to have that area sprayed with larvicide. There's these vegetated slopes, which are essentially ditches that are filled with water. Every time it rains, you've got 3-4 feet of standing water, and they weren't being sprayed. So that's actually going to be implemented now, which is fantastic, and we're still working on a fence. That is my ultimate goal, that we're going to get those people a fence.
Now, that won't be cheap, right?
It won't be cheap. No, it won't be cheap, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
When you've got seniors who have dementia, who have wandered out onto those tracks, when you've got residents who have animals, small dogs that are companion pets for these seniors, they can't go in the backyard. They'll go on those tracks, and that train goes by every 20 minutes.
Sure.
It's not safe. Not to mention, it's a huge security issue. That rail line leads directly into the U.S.
Right.
I'm surprised that there's not more security around that. So we need to get a fence up.
Okay, speaking of making noise, you're having a town hall event coming up. Just quickly tell us about that.
So we had the debate last Sunday, which was fantastic. We had more than 200 people there, hugely engaged, amazing crowd. I want to be able to build on that and offer residents the opportunity to come and have more of a conversation. They weren't really able to talk too much directly to all of us. So I wanted to host a town hall, a series of them. We're doing one in the north end of the ward at the Meeting House at 1352 Wyandotte on October the 9th at 6 p.m. That'll go till 8 p.m. It'll be an open floor, not moderated.
And your opponents are welcome to come, or how's this work?
Everybody's welcome to come. If you live in Ward 4, come on by.
Okay.
Come on by. The second one will be on October the 10th, the following day at Optimus Park in the south end of the ward. Same time, 6 to 8. Same format. Come by, have a coffee, have a chat, ask your questions. The floor is open.
Okay.
Excellent. Was there anything else you'd like to say? Or
No, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. It's been an incredible experience. We're feeling very, very good. We're feeling very positive. It's been a pleasure to run such a positive campaign.
It's not over yet, you know.
It's not over yet, but you know, the men and women that we're working with here in Ward 4, we've got a good group of people. I feel confident that it will stay that way, and that, you know what, no matter what, come October 27th, we're going to have a new city hall, and that's going to be a fantastic city hall. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Okay, thanks, Remy. No matter what happens, there's going to be a new councillor in Ward 4.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. It's exciting. Thank you.